Good morning, everyone. Hi, it's Taylor. Welcome back to my channel. I'm an American expat living in Malaysia, and I like to share my life and travels with you. Well, today I'm at the park, as you can see. My building's behind me, and I'm going to tell you the things that irritate me about Malaysia today. Does that sound fun? Stay tuned. Okay, what irritates me most in Malaysia? Oh, now don't get me wrong, I love Malaysia and I wouldn't live anywhere else. But just like any place you live, things are going to irritate you. So I thought I'd talk about a few of those today. And please take this in the spirit that it's intended. It's just a bit of fun, really. Okay, the first and most irritating thing in all of Malaysia is the traffic. Now I know I've talked about this before, but I just thought I would add it to my things that irritate me about Malaysia list. I think anyone visiting Malaysia would realize pretty quickly that there's more cars than people. Now that's just crazy. And despite really good public transportation, the roads are just jam-packed almost all the time. My goodness, I was even out at 10:30 the other night and got in a traffic jam. 10:30 at night, really? And don't even think about taking a driving trip anywhere in Malaysia on a holiday weekend, or any weekend practically. It's just a nightmare. People just drive their cars wherever they're going. Now, I know I've mentioned this before, but when my sister was here, we were driving to Penang. I had rented a car. I thought it would just be wonderful. Just a nice 4-hour trip. Well, it turned out to be the King's birthday weekend, so the trip took 7.5 hours. It was unbearable. So, just keep that in mind. Look for holidays, mostly. But even Sunday nights coming back into the city can be bad. On any weekend. I'm actually taking a road trip this weekend in Malaysia. We're going to Kuantan, which will be my first time on the East Coast. Can you imagine? I've lived here 9 years and haven't been to the East Coast of Malaysia. That's terrible. So I'm going to take care of that right away. So you can look forward to that video. It'll probably be next week. We're going on Friday and returning Monday, so hopefully we'll miss the traffic, or at least the traffic coming back. Another traffic-related irritant is the lack of street signs. Now, I love to learn a city, and so far in KL I've been unable to. It's just the most confusing city I've ever encountered in the world, except perhaps Rome. Now that's a confusing city. But I like to plot out my trip on a map and then just go looking for the road signs. You can't do that here. And it forces everyone to use GPS, which is too bad, because then they just follow the GPS and they don't learn the city. Another irritating traffic-related thing is although Malaysians are the kindest people in the world, they sort of lose that when they get behind the car and encounter a pedestrian. My goodness, sometimes you think they don't even see you. If you're crossing the street in front of them, they don't even slow down. They expect you to get out of the way. Now, not so much if you're in a crosswalk, but still. What's funny about it is that they're very courteous about other cars that are turning into the street, but not pedestrians. It's take your life in your hands. I'll say that. Now, this is not traffic-related per se, but it's about Grab drivers, our Uber here in Malaysia. Now, generally, the service is very good and very efficient. Occasionally, you'll see someone accepting a ride, and they are so far away from where you're going to need to get picked up. It's so annoying, very irritating. They could be 15 minutes away, and you know there's Grab drivers that are closer than that. Also, with food deliveries. Sometimes they accept the food delivery when they're nowhere near the restaurant, so your food arrives stone cold. Another irritant. Okay, the next thing I'm sure you can relate to if you visited Malaysia and came in through KLIA 2, which is the worst airport in the world practically. And you better hit immigration at a good time or you're going to be there a while. Now, I know other countries have long immigration lines, but I'm comparing it to like Singapore, where you just breeze right through with your passport. You don't even have to go to an agent. Here, the line can be 45 minutes long or more, and that's really, really bad for old people like me. Now, I guess I could say I'm too old and I can't stand up that long, but I don't want to take special privilege. Anyway, that's an area they really, really, really could improve here in Malaysia. The immigration officials, yeah, they seem like they're sort of, think they're really important. Well, that attitude carries over into other jobs. I find some Malaysians extremely inflexible about rules, even if they make no sense at all. For instance, I was having a TV delivered to my apartment. Now, it was a simple thing, one item. You have to pay 300 ringgit deposit in case the delivery people damage the freight elevator or something in the halls. I don't know. But so you have to pay that in cash, because if you paid it with a card, they said it takes 2 months to get your money back. If you pay with cash, they can just give it back to you as soon as the delivery is done. Well, when I was having my TV delivered, I went in, filled out the form. It's like super long. I handed the form to the woman, and she said, "Oh, you need the license plate number of the delivery truck." And I said, "How am I going to have that? And what possible difference could that make? Because the truck doesn't even come inside the private area of the condominium. It's on a public street." Well, she said you had to have it. Now, to her credit, she called the company and got the license number. I guess they're used to that. But what I would do in her situation, and I don't know, it's just the way Taylor thinks. But I would have said, "Oh, it doesn't matter what you write down there, just write down any number. They're not going to be checking that." But no, they follow the rules here, and sometimes it's irritating. Another thing in my condo is sometimes the gates don't work when you're driving out. Your card doesn't work for some reason, or they're just broken. And the guards, even though I've lived here a year and a half, and they know me, and they certainly know my Vespa, they want to take a picture first and get you all your information, and I just think that's ridiculous. Just open the gate. You're leaving anyway. What harm could you possibly have done? Talking about security guards. Sometimes they change them in a flash here. I've had it in 2 condominiums. You get used to all the security guards, and they like you, and they know you, and then you don't have to worry, like if you forgot your key card or something, there's no big deal. But twice here, I've had them just change the whole guards overnight. Now, I guess they get a new contract that's maybe better. I don't know. But then you have to get used to all these new people, and they have to learn you. I don't know. And the new ones we have in our building, which just started last week, they make them wear this silly, silly outfit with this feather in their head. I would be so embarrassed if I were them, but I don't know. Maybe it's just part of the job. Okay, now I'm going to talk a little bit about shopping. Shopping can be fun in Malaysia, but it can also be irritating. If you buy the wrong thing, forget about returning it. Pretty much everywhere has a no return policy. This is so different than the US, where you can return practically anything. But here, no, you buy it, it's yours, in most circumstances. And that's irritating. Another shopping-related thing is having grocery stores in malls. Now, I know I've mentioned this before, but it just doesn't make sense to me that you have to pay to park, and go in the shopping mall to do your shopping. What if you just needed to pick up a stick of butter or something? It just doesn't make sense, and kind of irritating. Now I'm going to talk about a few things in restaurants. I think the most irritating thing in Malaysia, and I don't think I've encountered it pretty much anywhere else, is that if there's multiple people at your table, they don't bring the food at the same time. Now, I don't know about y'all, but I was always raised that it's impolite to start eating before everybody has their food. But sometimes you can sit there and sit there and sit there. I mean, I've had experiences where the other person who I've told to just go ahead and eat has actually finished their meal before mine even arrives. Now that's irritating. Oh, now this one's sort of a funny thing because it's my fault. But I have the habit of saying too, T-O-O. Like, for instance, I'll say, "Oh, I'll have a Coke too." But because of the language, things are reversed here. And you would say Coke Dua. So they think I'm ordering 2 Cokes when I'm just saying I'd like a Coke also. But that's on me. But it's still kind of irritating. Another thing at restaurants is you get a fork and a spoon and not a fork and a knife. Now, it's fun watching people try to cut things up with a spoon, but they do it and they just think it's the most normal thing ever. I don't know. I guess in most places you can get a knife if you want it, but it just seems funny that they only give you forks and spoons. Now, of course, I've mentioned this ad nauseum, but another irritating thing in Malaysia is the high cost of alcohol. Now, I know that Muslims don't drink, and so they're taxing it a lot. Sort of a sin tax, I would say. A tax on other people's sin. But that's irritating. Now just a couple of kitchen-related irritants. There's almost no dishwashers here except in the most upscale apartments. In the US, everyone has one. And I mean just about everyone. And so you don't have a dishwasher, but there's no hot water at the kitchen sink. Now I know you could probably take care of that too, but I've never lived anywhere that had hot water at the kitchen sink, and it really makes washing dishes so much easier. There's also only ovens in the most upscale of apartments, and us Westerners use ovens a lot for cooking, so that's sort of irritating. Another building-related thing, and I'm not sure if it's just my building or just low-cost buildings, but there's no air conditioning in the elevator. Now, I'm on the 28th floor, and if it's stopping at 5 or 6 different places, I'm sweating like a pig by the time I get to my floor. That's irritating too. Now, the final thing I find irritating about Malaysia is that at this time of year, there's usually a haze. It's caused by, I don't know, burning in Indonesia, really bad burning. I think they burn off the crops rather than just plow them under or whatever, I'm not sure. But they clear land by burning. And it causes a tremendous smoke to come into Malaysia. Oh gosh, the first year I was here, it was so bad, I couldn't even see out my window, honestly. Now you can see here today, it's hazy. And it is bothering me. I've gotten a cough and I'm pretty sure that's what it's from. But there's very little that can be done because it's another country causing it. You know, and you can only ask nicely. But aside from being irritating, it's really a health issue too. And it's also haze on top of the enormous pollution we have here in Kuala Lumpur. Pollution from all the cars. So I don't know how healthy the air is here, but I'd say not very, according to this headline. Okay, well I hope you took that in the spirit it was intended. It was just supposed to be a bit of fun. Taylor whining. I don't do enough of that, I don't think. If you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe, and check the notification bell too, so you won't miss any of my future videos. Oh, I wanted to tell you, since my MM2H visa expires at the end of next year, or October really, I've decided to already look into how to renew it. Now, I've gotten in touch with the company. I use Domus, and I've always heard they're the best. Now, they took care of my driver's license, so I do think they're really wonderful. But I'm going to be following the process and making a video about that, about the whole process of renewing your visa. Well, I hope you didn't think today was too harsh. It's just Taylor being Taylor, I guess. But that's all I have for today. Thanks so much for watching. Talk to you later. Bye.